What's up, everybody? Happy Wednesday. This is Real Talk Chronicles. I'm your host, Bill Forster, with my co-hosts, Richard Williams, Kevin Branzetti, and Chuck Richards will be joining us a little later. Happy birthday to his mother. Sending all praises to, mothers. For those that still have theirs, I think that's just a beautiful thing to have. So we definitely give shout outs to Chuck's mother in regards to that. I was just paying homage to a friend of mine, Silk Productions. His funeral is right now as we speak. I was attending that. So rest in peace to my man Silk. With that being said, I just want to give out the public service announcements. Real Talk Chronicles is supported by Soft Illusions Art Gallery. It is also supported by the Deadly Arts Magazine. We'll be doing a Q&A this weekend. This Friday. Turn your phone down, whomever. We're also supported by Melba's Fine Cuisine, her soul food restaurant in Harlem. Just want to give you the rundown on everything before I introduce my guests and let them say hellos. Every Monday, we have Assemblyman Al Taylor, Real Talk with Al Taylor. The second Monday of the month, we have Dr. Marilyn Corder. She will be here in the building coming up. The third Monday of the month, we have Real Talk with Allison Williams, where we just had last week with Melba Wilson. The fourth Monday of the month, we have Real Talk with Pastor Kevin Graves. He won't be here, but I'll have Real Talk with Leon Ellis, the owner of Chocolat and Harlem Underground, in celebration of Harlem Black History Month. And every Wednesday, we have Richard Williams, we have Kevin Branzetti, and we have Chuck Richards. And with that saying all that, if you're on, excuse me, like I'm multitasking. I'm just coming off a funeral. It's kind of hard to come back and just jump right back into it. Saying all of that, we have Kevin and Chuck, and we have Richard. It's a beautiful thing. I will also be doing a promoting special event for promoters on March 3rd. Legends Lincoln Melvin and Sam Tuga. That I'm looking forward to doing that, talking about the history of nightlife, entertainment, and other things of that magnitude. And I just want to say hello to everybody. If you're watching from Facebook, if you're on my Facebook page, go under the share button, share it. If you're under Rich's page, share it. If you're under Kevin's page, share it. Chuck's, share it. And if you're on YouTube, share it. That's a beautiful thing. Just share it. If you're on YouTube, subscribe to it. Let us know that you like the content that we're giving to you guys. And without further ado, let me go and check on my fellas and see how they're doing. Rich, how are you doing today, brother? What's going on?
Oh, man. I woke up this morning with 2 C's, a choice and a chance.
That's a beautiful thing. That's a beautiful thing. Kev, how are you doing, man?
I'm doing well. Enjoying a nice warm day today.
Yeah, it started off a little cloudy, but turned out to be very nice. And I think that's all we can ask for, some beautiful days. We know the weather's going to change, and it's going to get there real soon. Tomorrow, I don't know what the weather's going to be like, but it is what it is. We'll take it for what it is, right? That's what we do. We'll be ready for whatever the weather brings us. Tonight. Shout out to everybody that's chiming in. Sharon, Darren, Ruthie, Brenda, what's going on? Good evening to you too. Vera with the wonderful last name, Forster. I always love that last name. We're family in name. That's a beautiful thing, right? We're family in name. So, fellas, let me just jump right into it. Miss Kim Potter, Officer Kim Potter, the judge gave her 2 years in the death of Dante Wright. I think what she was charged with had a maximum, I think, 7 years. Correct me if I'm wrong, fellas. 7 years. And the judge apologetically, sympathetically felt like it was a big mistake. She referenced the African American officer, Muhammad, I don't know his last name, in lieu of shooting the white woman. And she said it was different. She said this was a mistake, which we can all differ and converse about that tonight, whether it was a mistake or not a mistake. That's neither here nor there. But the sentencing is, I think, was left in question. And I'll start with you, Richard. So she got sentenced to 2 years, 16 months with time served, and then she'll be able to do, I think, under supervision or house arrest. Correct me if I'm wrong, Kevin, if you know, I know you on it, a lot of things. She will really just be doing 16 months in jail. Quiet's kept. That is less, Kevin, that is less than our probation time on the police department. And that's facts for all those that are chiming in. Hey, Tracy. What's up, David? Good evening, Sharon. That is less time than we did on probation. And I'll start with you, Richard, first, and then I'll let Kevin go, and then I'll follow it. What do you think about what the judge gave her?
You know what? Sentencing like that just sends me back to a time in the South, like in the Emmett Till case. You know, there's something like that can go without real justice. I mean, we're living in a time where, you know, something's got to change, man. I mean, I don't know what we could do from where we're sitting at, but, you know, people are protesting. They're not having it, you know, and everybody thinks people are crazy when justice takes this kind of turn. I mean, just imagine if that was your child or my child. You know, nobody really wants to condone violence or anything like that, but I can only just think of it being my child.
I agree with you. Kev? I'll come back to you, Rich. I just wanted to get Kev's take on it. Yeah.
I have what's going to be an unpopular opinion on this, but I've said that before her trial. I don't think she should have. She made a mistake, and we're putting somebody in jail for an accidental shooting. I don't see how a large sentence would make sense in this case. I don't understand if we're gonna change the standard here, and if you make a mistake and somebody gets hurt, we all, unless you believe she didn't believe it. If you don't believe she didn't think she was using her taser, I believe she thought she had her taser in her hand. Right. So with that, I look at it as an accidental shooting. So 2 years to me, is more than enough. I don't even think she should have been charged for an accident. So if you don't believe you thought she had a taser, that's a different conversation. But if you believe she had a taser, that's an accident. And if we're going to start charging on that premise, I want that then to be the premise we charge everybody. I want doctors to be charged. I want, everybody across the board to be charged in that sense.
Hey, listen, I don't mean to cut you off, Kev, but do you got any footage on this so we can look at this and go by the footage, and then I think I can speak better to it when 100%. People see what we're talking about.
Absolutely.
Yeah. While Kevin gets that footage together, everybody, I will give my take on it. Kevin, I'll give you a chance to get the footage on it. You know, a lot of times we always hear what about the legalities and the justices and in the court of laws. The right family will have to deal with grieving for their child for the rest of their lives. Minuscule aspect of a air freshener, a warrant, whatever his warrant was for, we can deal with
It was for a gun.
Yeah, for a gun, exactly, and it's right to carry state and all kind of things of that magnitude. There law enforcement that will always say, "Oh, he should have complied." I do not know why this young man was that nervous and he ran or tried to get away. I don't know. But what I do know is that, Kevin, you probably can contest to this after you look for the footage while you're looking for the footage, and I'll kick it with Rich and the audience, the real talkers out there listening. We didn't shoot people when they ran. You know what I'm saying? We fought, we wrestled, we slammed, we punched, we did whatever we had to do, but we didn't shoot. The threat was him escaping. It wasn't that a serious of a threat. Do I think 2 years is time served for her? Absolutely not. Now, we talked about last week, in lieu of the other officer killing the young man. I think I forgot was it Amir Locke? I don't know his name. Excuse me, everybody. My mind is a lot of places tonight. And the officers, they did a no-knock search warrant. They came in the house.
With a key.
Excuse me?
With a key.
With a key. And the individual was asleep. He had the right to have the gun. And I even said, I understand the officer shooting. I got a lot of flack for that, and I get it. From a black man, we earn a right to have a gun. We have a right to sleep with it under our pillow next to us. Shit. I mean, Rich, you can tell we can go back to black exploitation movies where John Shaft and Fred Williamson, when they be stroking a girl out and have a gun in their hand. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, it is what it is. But the bottom line is he came out with the gun, and I even went on record saying that I understand why the officer shot. Because I do. You can't tell me the seconds that I can count this off in saying, I know, Kev, correct me if I'm wrong, as I go along while you set up the footage, that when we came on this job, they told us if you use that gun, you better sure damn well have a good reason to use it. Right? So we as officers were so scared to pull that trigger unless we saw the smoking gun. And what I mean for that, for those that don't know what I'm trying to say, is that we call the smoking gun the gun almost in your hand. We know you committed the crime or you had it. Otherwise than that, it was more or less, we're going to fight you, because the job had gave us the feeling that you better not shoot, because that would be the ultimate punishment or sacrifice for taking someone's life and jeopardizing your own career. So the fact that, and this is what I think comes into question now, search warrant, known for being a volatile individual, known to have firearms, you're going in there with a different mentality. It's like sports, going against, you as a sports, we all played sports. You go in there with the mentality, I'm going against a team. You're supposed to get your A game up going against a team. But it's a difference when you're going against that A team known to be the national champions or the number one seed or whatever it is. You step your game up. I say that in lieu of going against looking for somebody with a firearm. Dante Wright didn't have a firearm. He was fleeing. We've always been taught you never shoot a fleeing felon, right? And this wasn't a felon. This was just a search warrant. I mean, this was just a person wanted on a warrant. I say all that to say, now, what was the testimony, and we can play that too. I think I sent that to you, Kevin, what her mother said, which is a white woman. She said white women tears trump black men. You know what I'm saying? Black men fears. You know what I'm saying? So I personally feel that even if you would have gave her the maximum 7 years and she would have got out in 4, I'd have been okay with that. But for the judge to take a sympathetic ear and almost have so much remorse and shed tear for the shooter instead of the victim's family was an insult. It was a slap in the family's face. And you know what's so funny? I don't care what any law enforcement friend that I have say what to say. I don't give a damn. It's crazy.
So do you think she thought it was the taser, or do you think she knew it was her gun?
I honestly think she knew it was her gun.
Okay. All right. Then I'll accept your answer then. Then that's fine.
Yeah.
I don't think that.
Because Kev, the reason why I say that, and correct me if I'm wrong, we've been taught on this job, when we have our ass, our nightstick, police, don't stop moving. Put your hands behind your back. Don't resist. Stop resisting, and we can hit you.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Sure.
Anybody knows if I pinch you, you're going to jump. You're going to move. Right? The average person is going to move. So that is just that's smoke screens for me. That's justifying.
So you think she intentionally shot him? And
no,
at that second, had the clarity to already have her excuse in place by screaming taser, taser, taser.
What I'm going to say, I'm not going to say that, but what I'm going to say is I think she knew the difference between a gun and a taser. And I think what she did was shoot, right? I'm not saying that she intentionally drew her gun in lieu of her taser. I'm not going to say that. But what I am going to say is that when she pulled her gun and she said taser, 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 that's what she just was used to saying. You understand what I'm trying to say? But I'm trying to say, you know the difference between your gun and your taser, Kevin. Kevin, you know the difference between your gun and your nightstick. You know,
your gun and your nightstick are majorly different. Your gun and your taser are not. They're both shaped like guns.
Yes, but the weight difference is totally different. And Kevin, you probably more than me because I've never had a taser. I've never had a taser.
And that's what was going to be my next thing. Have you ever had a fight and with your adrenaline running, have one in your hand? Like, it's not that simple as, look, if I blindfolded you and gave you one after the other, you're going to know. No question. 100% of the time, you'll know the difference. But that's a blindfolded, no stress scenario. Zero. Mm-hmm. This is in the middle of it, having it. If you think she thought she had her gun, then you're looking at premeditated murder. You know, let's watch the video.
Yeah, let's watch the video. Everybody, this is Real Talk Chronicles. I'm your host, Bill Forster, with my co-host, Kevin Branzetti.
He's like, you know, Richard, you went from very calm at the beginning of this. As soon as I started talking, he sat up. Whoa.
And let me just say this.
I saw the difference. I saw the body language.
Yeah. Let me just say this. I ask anybody that wants to join, text me, inbox me. I'll send you the link. You can join this conversation. This is an open discussion. This is not closed to anything and everything. Anybody is always welcome to join this conversation. This is an open forum. This is real talk. Express your feelings. Say what you got to say. This is from Kevin and I, and I can deem us experts because we've been it long enough. Let me tell you something. I've been in narcotics damn near all my career. Damn near over 700. I've been involved in almost 700 arrests. Involved in damn near. We went out 3 times a week and pulled in 10 to 11 people most of the time. You do the math over 10 years. So I can say 700. You understand what I'm trying to say? You add it up. Kevin has been in narcotics. We did SNU together. Kevin, when we went out, we brought in no less than 6 people a time we went out, right?
Yeah.
So, Bill.
Yes.
Bill, I want to ask you guys a question before we go to the footage.
Yes.
I'm gonna ask you first, Bill.
Okay, please do.
Have you ever been mistaken for a criminal?
Absolutely. 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 Absolutely.
Kevin, have you ever been mistaken for a criminal?
By law enforcement and by a citizen.
How many times?
Twice at gunpoint.
What were you doing?
It's shot you, right? Right?
But listen, that's normal for a black man every day to be mistaken for a criminal just because you're black. To walk around with a bullseye on your back.
How many times you had a cop pull a gun on you, Richard?
I've been arrested many times.
No. How many times you had a cop pull a gun on you?
Every time.
How many times?
I can't even begin to count, Bill. I mean, Kevin. That's I've had that done more times than I've had sex.
I'm worried about your sex life.
Yeah. It seems like it's funny. It seems like unimaginable. But for a man to walk out the door worried about interaction with, first, a citizen that's white that can easily say you did something you didn't do and call the cops, and they show up and you're already convicted. To walk into a store, to drive your car, to just be yourself, that's in the back of your head every day of your life as a black man. And that's real. Now we're going to look at this footage, right? And I'm walking him in. But you're the footage man, you're the stats man, Kevin. So we can have some parity, some evenness around here. Let's start showing for every black person this type of incident happens, bring a footage of a white person and this happens. Meaning they get shot by mistake for a stop or whatever. Yeah. So can we have some equality here where you show that footage and then you show some footage of something that's just like what happened to a black man happens to white people?
Yep.
Can we start doing that?
First time we talked, if you look at Google the Washington Post.
No, the footage you showed was what's the guy's name? And he was beating the cop up, jumped in the car.
I want to show you another one. What I'm saying is the statistically.
No, I heard what you said, but I want you to start showing the footage. Yeah. Just like you show the footage of what we're about to see. I want some equality. I want you to start showing me every time you show us one black man or a black woman, show us some balance. All right. Can we start doing that? So easy. Roll the footage, Kevin.
I wait for Bill.
Here we go. All right, let's go. Let me go full screen.
got a warrant. I shot him. Yes! I grabbed the wrong fucking gun! I shot him! Oh my god! Oh my god!
So now I want to go a little slower with it because I want to. So she's the training officer. These are two, yeah, and she's awful.
Let me just tell you something. Let me just say this. Why would she say out loud he has a warrant? She escalated that shit right there.
Yeah, it is one of the things. Like we have to communicate with each other. So like if this is me and Bill, we're either going to step to the side and I'm going to say the guy's got. I will never say in front of the person the guy's got a warrant or the car comes back stolen. Like you never say that in front of them. It's between me and Bill.
Why?
Absolutely. You don't want to escalate this. You don't want to escalate the individual that you are dealing with. I don't want to call him a perpetrator at the time, but somebody that you might apprehend. You don't want to alarm them. The bottom line is, I'm not going to tell you, yo, if I'm going to fight you, listen, throw your hands up. I'm not going to do that.
I mean, I know that. I just wanted you to say that for the people that's
watching.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
It's to get you out of that car. I want to get you. I want to talk you out of that car. So I'm just going to say, I do, Mr. Richards. There's an issue. Could we have a moment? We talk outside the car. It's easier. It's hard for me to understand you. Whatever I want to talk to you to get you out without getting you, because that car's dangerous. Right? Like right now, if I'm standing on the side of the road and this guy decides to take off, I'm easy to get hit. I'm easy to get dragged. All those great things.
But let me ask you, when I was looking at it, it looked like he was already in the position of being handcuffed.
But that's where it's
before she even said that.
Yeah, she says it. The warrant's discussed beforehand, so they know the warrant. All right, he's going to be placed on arrest. But this is how you could tell rookies as well. Is there the way he held them? It was he didn't have control.
True, very true.
And we learn this. Like it's one of those things you learn on the street. Look, one of the first people I ever tried to arrest got away from me. Right, it was the guy bounced backwards on me, and he was gone in the wind.
You know what else I noticed? And correct me if I'm wrong. She had her arm extended, right?
Yep.
Saying, "I'm going to tase you first." She said, "I'm going to tase you. I'm going to tase you." Then she says, "Taser, taser, taser." I mean, the thing you said, Kevin, that you think that she didn't know she had a taser, I would buy that if she hadn't had her arm extended with that gun in her hand, warning him first.
You can't see it
in her hand.
I'm telling you,
taser, I'm gonna tase you. I'm gonna tase you.
Richard,
I know
she can't even see her hand. If you've ever been in, like your vision just goes down to nothing. It does. But let's go back to where she's still training officer. Number one job is to make sure these two are safe. That's my number one job. Those two young cops, I have to make sure they're safe. So this starts off with, right? He's getting her out. He's getting the guy out of the car.
Step on.
She's giving directions to the guy to have him step on out. There's no way I'm that far back. But now, car's running, doors open. That is not where you're trying to cuff a man. That guy is brought away from the car. That door is closed. She's still standing at the back of the car like she's watching a training exercise when her hands are supposed to be on that guy to make sure these cops are doing it right. So she is in the wrong place.
Negligent.
Absolutely. But she should not be trained. The person who made a training officer should be reprimanded or fired.
How many years of service has she had?
Too many.
26 years. 26
Huh?
years.
26 years.
And
right?
Richard, we
years.
all know cops like this.
Okay, but you're telling me this woman who has 26 years of training, right?
Yep.
Who is tasked to train other officers, made every mistake you can name.
Yep.
And
we're not done. She's got more mistakes coming, Richard.
At the end of it, her cleaning this up was shooting the guy.
Yeah. There's more mistakes coming.
But her stepping in, right, to clean up what you said was all kinds of wrong on how they dealt with this guy. Now she stood back and she's orchestrating.
Yep.
It's not like it's happening that fast that she's like, oh, no, you're not supposed to do it like that. She's standing there watching this whole thing unfold. Other officers on the other side of the car got his hand leaning against the top of the car, hand on his maybe gun or hip, Richard, and he's no place. He's no place to assist.
He has a warrant for a gun, right? Like, so it's not a warrant for he fairly showed for a beer drinking summons, right? So and then she knows
gun, okay, but again, she's all kind of wrong,
100%,
and from beginning to end, right?
Yeah.
Now, if you are entrusted and trained with 26 years of service and interaction in what she does from start to finish, we're not talking about a split-second mistake. We're talking about a mistake from the start.
Piled on top of each other. Yep.
Mistake from the start, if you want to call it that, right?
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I know you said it's her job to make sure the two officers get home safe, but is she supposed to protect and serve the public?
100%.
Or protect and serve her partners first?
Yeah. So,
because as an officer,
let me continue.
In my mind, I'm like, okay, you take this job and knowingly put your life on the line to protect and serve the public, right?
Yep. Richard, I'm not going to argue with any of this, right?
So at the end of the day,
she's not a good cop.
Let's just say, argument's sake, if you have a doctor who performs a botched surgery on you, leaves a tool in your stomach, and it causes you death.
Richard, one of the number one top 5 causes of death in this country is malpractice. Go to the CDC website. I'll show it to you later.
Okay, well, this kind of malpractice causes death too.
It is the largest, one of the largest causes of death in the country.
And you know what?
Our training cops, and we've seen this. I've worked with them. I've seen it firsthand. We don't choose the best. It is not thought of in police departments as this person should be the best of the best. Sometimes it's just whoever's available.
And I agree with you. But
it's
at
horrible.
the end of the day, look at George Floyd. That guy was the cop training the cops that were with him.
And his boss should have been fired.
But what I'm saying to you is, this guy whose knee is on this guy's neck was training the other cops.
I know.
So we're talking about
and
veteran cops training other cops that wind up killing suspects.
I'm with you. Look, when Bill and I got to the 2-8, there was 1 or 2 cowboys there. They weren't allowed out. You wouldn't, as a rookie, you were not working with them.
Right.
But that was because our CO understood that. And it did not happen.
Right.
There would be no way Bill and I, as young rookies, would be working with a cowboy. That's a good CO. Here, we have.
Why is a cowboy working?
Whole nother set of questions, my friend. Do you know how hard it is to fire government workers? Like I said, she's a lousy cop. Should she have been working? This is one video. Should she have been working?
Hey, listen, I always said that you guys got like the best union and union rep. Pat Lynch, that guy is like a pit bull.
It's all government.
He doesn't give a shit what you did. He's gonna hold you down till somebody else says that you did it, that the jury went down or whatever. He's gonna hold you down, right?
Yeah.
Right. So
what
officers hold themselves down, even at the expense of wrong.
Yeah.
That's
teachers union, corrections union, and every one of them, my friend.
But that's the
problem.
We're
not special.
But Kevin, that's the problem when you want to deal with the public and try to get them to understand how something like this is justified. Because no matter whether it's justified or not, at the end of the day, officers are going to say it's justified. Even if they don't believe it, they're going to say that publicly that, nah, that was a good shooting.
It is very hard.
Either that or say nothing at all.
And I'll still say, show me the job where somebody speaks out against it. Show me the trucker who talks out about, other truckers' bad behavior. Show me the teacher that does it. It doesn't happen.
Did it.
It doesn't. Richard,
I did it.
You're the outlier.
And I had colleagues that did it too.
Right? It's not the norm anywhere.
Well, let me just say this. Let me interject, fellas. Let me just say this. It takes a very big man or woman to speak out against any injustices in their workplace. We will be talking about that following this in lieu of Brian Flores. But the thing is, right here, what we're discussing is, and let's just put clarity to this, because both of you are right in what you're saying. Kevin, you're right. How do you have a nothing teach how to be a good police officer? And I say nothing because the bottom line is she started off tactically wrong in every damn aspect of this scenario. You don't tell the perp and I'll use the person that you're trying to apprehend what he committed. Oh, I'm not going to say to Kevin, oh yeah, he's wanted for a gun or he's wanted for a murder. Now you've alarmed him. You don't do that. So yeah, she was wrong. Now, as the rookie officer, was he supposed to make this kind of mistake in cuffing? Absolutely. But what she should have did, and what Kevin and I are doing from a Monday morning quarterback standpoint or on an expert aspect, is she should have moved in closer and grabbed the other arm and said, cuff him, whisper, cuff him, right? While he has his back like that. And made sure that he held him. She could have motioned and said something. We have all trained, even if we didn't learn it in the academy, we learned it when we on the job training. Senior officers have told us certain things to do. I won't divulge that right now, but senior officers have told us certain things to do. Rather, looks like rain, and I'm just throwing that out, not to divulge certain things that jeopardize other officers, alarming individuals. But if I say it looks like rain and it's damn near 97 degrees out in the sunny, I know something is up. You know what I'm trying to say? If I'm working with you,
Will and I have we'll have a code word, a communication, a tactic, a thing, there'll be something, but we'll know.
Exactly. Absolutely.
Any communication that you could tell, Richard, that it's on. This is going to happen.
So I say all that to say, but what I have a problem, and we can play it again, Kev, and Richard, the thing is that she receives his license in one hand. She's able to switch the license and put it in the other hand. She spews it out. Taser. I'm going to tase you. And then the bottom line is, first and foremost, you don't even have to taser this dude, right? You know who the hell this dude is. It just came up on your screen. Kevin and I, anybody, all the law enforcement that's out here, I see you, Tommy. I see you, Adali. I see you, Kevin. Once we tap that, and I'm using this, I'm being like, we tap that name in that computer, we got you, right?
But this guy ain't getting away. Like, so if he's fighting, point. Would I have maced him? Would I have tased him if there's a fight? Yeah, but there still shouldn't. Look at the bottom right photo. She's standing back of the car. the cop is to Dante's right. Training officer should have been on the left. I would have been on the left, on Dante's left arm, blocking him and pushing him over so he can't get in that car. He is not getting in that car. That car is dangerous, and that door's closed.
Let me interject, Kevin. First and foremost, if you're going to pull him out, you should have closed the damn driver's door.
Yeah, but that's her responsibility. The rookie made a mistake, understandably. The rookie made a mistake and too close to the door. Door's still open. Doesn't have a firm grip on him. The rookie's a pretty big guy. He's not a little guy. He should have had a better grip on him. You know, his left leg could have been between Dante's legs. Like, there's positioning you can do to make sure it's going to be difficult. All those are mistakes that most rookies are going to make. That's why her job is important.
And those are acceptable mistakes because they're acceptable mistakes when there's not a fatality. Now that rookie has to be ridiculed for the rest of his life on the fact that, yo, you didn't do this, you didn't do that. Because trust me, Richard, and I'm gonna say this, and Kevin knows this for a fact. A lot of people with this case and looking at that rookie and saying you dropped the ball. It's your fault that she got in trouble. Trust me and believe. White, black, no matter what that rookie's nationality is, they're looking at that rookie as like you dropped the ball. You didn't do your job. But the thing is, that's not the elephant in the room. The elephant in the room from our standpoint is all this what didn't happen and transpire. But let's go back to
worse.
Go ahead.
She gets worse before the shooting.
Yeah. Go ahead, Kevin. Play it again.
Can you roll that footage again?
Yeah, we're gonna continue from here.
Mm-hmm.
Now he's trying to get cuffs on. His hands ready, trying to get cuffs. And this is the hardest thing to do. She touches. She's going for papers. All right. What the heck do you care about a piece of paper? His non-driver's license or his driver's license, whatever the thing is he's grabbing.
Hey, did the other cop get in the passenger seat?
Yeah. It's his arm you're supposed to be grabbing. It's physical.
Yeah.
But let me ask you, did the other officer get in the car? Is that what just happened?
Yeah, because he went to stop him from driving. He went to stop him from trying to drive off.
Okay, so he went in the car with the driver.
Yeah, if he was quick enough, he would have got the keys.
I shot him. Yes! I grabbed the wrong gun! I shot him! Oh my God!
So after he shot him, the other cop gets out of the car?
Let's see, what point does he get out of the car?
Is there any body cam footage on him?
He's out now. The shot hasn't happened yet.
Yeah, if you look at the bottom screen, yeah.
He pops out and she had just screamed out. Now that's the fire. So he's already out.
Okay, why did he get out?
Because I guess the fact that he knew he wasn't trying to be dragged in that car.
He was in the car.
He was in the car. I don't know why he
in the car.
I don't know what kind of car it is. I don't know where putting it in park is. I don't know, is it keys?
But
is it button?
He is still in the car, right? When he gets shot. After he gets shot, he gets out of the car.
Before he gets shot. He makes it out of the car before the gunshot.
Why? Why would he get out of the car?
We don't have that answer. I will say we don't have that answer.
Again,
I'm just asking. I mean,
no, I know what you're saying. I know what you're saying. I'm not trying to be funny.
But she still got the paper, right?
I'm just asking. I mean, you got 3 cops. 2 of them on the one side. One is actually in the vehicle with this guy, And the objective is to what? Stop him from getting away?
Yeah. I don't think I
So
would.
if you're trying to stop him from getting away, you're in the car with this guy. Where's he going to go with you?
Yep. Look, I don't.
That's
I don't
my
see
question,
myself
Kevin.
getting out of the car, Richard.
Kevin,
the fight's on
I'm
in the
asking you, what is he thinking about that at this point that he's getting out of the car? Now, you said he jumped out before she shot him.
Yeah. Just before.
Just before.
Yeah.
So, okay, I guess he knew it was a gun.
Right.
He said, I'm out of here.
He's out. Yeah. Maybe. He's out right there. And that's a shot.
Kev, go back a little further. I want to hear her when she says, "I'm going to taser you. I'm going to taser you. Taser, taser, taser. Oh shit! I shot him." Go back to that.
Yeah, we'll get this.
I'm not doing nothing.
Paperwork. He's going to this way.
I'll tase you. I'll tase you. Taser. Oh, shit.
Now stop it right there,
Now
Kevin.
I'm
Okay.
confused.
Stop it right there,
Yes.
Kevin. Before she said, "I'll taser you," she already had her firearm in her hand.
Yeah,
Go back.
I know she did.
Yeah.
That's when she's saying, "I'm tase you." She's got the firearm.
But what I'm trying to say is, how do you articulate what you're going to do with the wrong intention?
Oh, shit.
You don't even hear the gunshot. Do you hear a gunshot at any point?
No.
So, Richard, I may be wrong. She may have shot while the cop was still in the car.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
you know,
the
I
cop was
thought-
still in the car. The shot was what made him get out of the car.
Yeah.
well, I won't say
Yeah, I
that. It
think
might
you're
have been it might have been. I mean, you have two scenarios here: the car, him putting the car in drive, and the fact that he heard the gunshot. So we can only ask him why he got out the car. We don't even know, because the bottom line is what we do know is that, because I'm looking at the scenario, I know, and I can go back to the Rodney King scenario when they was beating Rodney King and they said he kept resisting, he kept moving. If you hit me with an ass or you hit me with anything, what do you think I'm going to do but move? So I think, and listen, I'm law enforcement, prior law enforcement. It works in my behalf if I have to use it. The bottom line is, with the ears hear, the mind believes. So if I'm going to say, I told you to stop resisting, he kept moving, stop, put your hands behind your back. What is the crowd hear when you go to court and they testify? And they say, oh, excuse me, Mr. Williams, what did you hear? I heard him say, stop moving. Thank you. No more questions. You want to say, but no, wait a minute. He hit. No, I didn't ask you that. You know what I'm saying? And I'm saying that this is the way it benefits us. So for her to keep saying, I'm saying taser, to me, I'm not saying, and this is where I'm going to go with you, Kevin. I'm not saying she initially grabbed her gun and said, I'm going to shoot him. I don't think she did that. But what I think she knew, the difference between her gun and her taser. And then in lies the problem when she said taser. First and foremost, and a lot of people don't understand. In this job, women will get longitude and latitude over situations that men won't get. You know what I'm trying to say? So, and that's not neither here nor there, and that's not saying bad or good. The bottom line is it's a female. So, and this is no disrespect to the great female officers out there that do their job, but the bottom line is she was terrible. Like I had a great training officer, Dennis Gonzalez. We don't see eye to eye on political things and certain things, but I will always give him his props on his training. He was excellent. If there ever was a great training officer in my eye, boom, we ended up working in narcotics together. It's so funny how you can be trained by somebody, and then when you get to a certain position in life, you're equal. You know what I'm saying? But we were equal then. But the bottom line, he was a training officer. But he was an excellent training officer, tactically teaching me the streets and the building numbers and everything, like just how to read that radio and stuff like that. Excellent training officer. Excellent training officer. I owe him tactically. Boom. He put me on the cusp of being the tactical officer that I was. So I have to give him his props. But what I'm trying to say is that right now, she was disgusting. Kevin, we get that. And the fact of it is, Kevin, like you said, let's get back to the elephant in the room. The time served, the sentencing. Because the bottom line is we can all sit here and talk about how terrible she was. And that's never going to change. There was a question Cheryl asked you, Kevin, and let me go back to what Cheryl, or was it Tracy? Oh, yes, it was Tracy. I apologize. Tracy said, would Kevin feel the same if it was a police officer accidentally killed?
Yeah. So my only example I can give of that, and you know, Richard, you can put your head back and you can, until you catch me and call me out on it. Well, is it rare and you have to take your emotions out of things? Yeah, you have to. And it's hard. It's not that simple. And can I tell you, if it was my kid, I would take emotions out? No. If it was my kid, I would not take emotions out. But I can't tell you how I would react because thank God I've never been in that scenario.
Right. And then Tracy also said, would it have been the same outcome if he were a black officer and a white victim? Well, Tracy, we also see what happened to the officer, I think Muhammad's, whatever his last name is. He shot a white woman mistakenly, and he got, like, I think the maximum sentence.
There was so there's a difference between the two besides color.
What?
Right, and I'm still going to go back to, do you think she thought she had a taser or not? And that's where I have this. The other one, there was no question he knew he had his gun.
Absolutely. Facts.
Right. So there is not, we're not comparing perfect parallels. So let's not, give that out there. And have we ever seen the shooting? Is that video available?
Which one?
The one we're just talking about. What's that? What was that cop's name? It was another, right, Minneapolis one?
Yes. Muhammad something. I don't know his last name. Everybody, this is Real Talk Chronicles. I'm your host, Bill Foster, with my co-host Kevin Branzetti and Richard Williams in the building. Listen, let me just read something. Brenda, let me see. Roscoe said, I don't believe her one bit. Shaking my head. Her words, crying, and reaction were not convincing. Paula said, wasn't she sentenced to 2 years? Yeah, 2 years, but she's not doing 2 years. She's doing less time in the penitentiary than Kevin and I did in an academy. Brenda said, I thought the taser gun is a different color to differentiate. Is the weight of the taser lighter? Yes, it is, Brenda. Roscoe said the situation got too chaotic for her and she was scared and effed up. Should never have been a training officer. No control period. No control period. Who she's teaching what who. I think he's referring to what you're saying too, Kevin. Like her training, like so. This goes back to the super elephant in the room, the bigger elephant, that she should have even never been a training officer. And this is why I've always said that we need people like Kevin and myself in the academy. Go ahead, Rich.
That taser, isn't that taser put in the less dominant hand?
Yep.
So you're dumb.
Not everywhere it's trained that way.
Say again?
Not everywhere it's trained that way. No.
So
there are departments you'll see, and I'm trying to see it on here. Let's go back a little bit in the video where that taser sits, where it's next to your gun.
Well, in this case, was it next to her gun?
Let's see if we can find it on one of their guns, because I think some of them have also had. I think it's on her right side in front of her gun. Yeah. Years ago, NYPD's taser was shaped nothing like a gun. And the department switched over to these firearm shaped ones, and I don't think that was a smart move.
As we're looking for this, I'm just going to read something Vera said that makes so much sense. She said her muscle memory was for her gun, not for her taser. She failed to practice with her taser versus gun to ensure that she grabbed the right one. What do you think about that, Kevin and Rich?
I mean, this is something we talk about a lot, Bill. We don't train our cops enough anywhere.
Oh, whoa, back up.
Yeah, I know. I see it.
The taser's on the left side.
His. So that's him.
Look right there. You see it?
Yeah, I saw it on him.
Okay.
I'm with you. I saw it on him. I was trying to see if we could see it on her, but I don't think any of this video is going to help us with that. Right there.
Yeah, because that's it.
You see the way it's turned? It's meant for
stop that right there. Hold on, stop. Let me just interject, and I apologize, Kev. If that's not his dominant hand, then that means in that administration department, the taser is on the
but it's facing for his right hand. That's on his left hip, but you see it, the handle's going forward. That's or reach across with your right hand and grab it. It's still meant for his right hand with his.
So even if Kevin, and I agree with you, even if that's the case, that's probably the same for her.
Yeah, odds are it's going to be the same spot.
Right. So my thing is when she like Vera said, if she's reaching for her, if muscle memory teaches her to go exactly for her gun, then now is this muscle memory acceptable?
Yeah, you just saw it a little bit on her hip on the left side when she turns. Right there.
Okay. So
you can just catch a real hair of it.
Now that officer
on the
with
lower
his
video,
taser, it would have to be a reach around to draw it, right?
Mm-hmm.
The way he has the butt, he would have to reach this way.
I think that's it right there.
Right? So
it's your gun and your taser, they're both taken with the right hand. The thing about going through the list of it, right? All of the mistakes she made. Awful. On top of it, when we're shooting our gun, we ain't screaming gun, fire, fire, fire.
Right.
Training is when you're tasering, scream it, taser. You want the person to hear it because a good chunk of people are going to comply at that point because they don't want that shock. All right. So that's the whole combination is why I believe she actually thought she had her taser.
So let me ask you a question, Kevin and Richard. I just want you to listen in on this.
And if you think Kevin, she had her gun,
hold on, Kevin. Let me just
let
me ask you. No, let me just ask you these questions because only you can answer this. I was never a supervisor. I left the job before I was issued a taser. What is the training for having a taser? Are you taught to say taser? Okay. All right. You're muted now. Go ahead.
Yeah, that's part of the training. You're screaming it. That's the muscle memory she's going through at that moment.
Is that for the perp or is that for the other officers also?
All the above. But it's more for the perp. It is to scare the snot out of them that at that point they're going to stop.
But it's also to tell your partner, whoever's working with you, that you're about to tase this individual. Because if you get tased, you don't want to be touching this guy, right?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. It'll shock you too. 100%.
Yeah. So you warn him, so you know you're about to get this guy tased. So let him go, because I'm about to hit him. Right?
Yeah.
Right?
Because the reason why I asked that question, and I'm sure Kevin can contest to this, as officers, we pull our gun out and tell the motherfucker 1,000 times, I'll kill you. I'll blow your fucking head off. So he won't move. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So he can stand still. So I get that threat, that verbal threat to freeze you up. But what I don't get is the fact that you pulled out a taser and listen, we can give a lot of different things. Mike Tyson said it best. everybody has a game plan until you get hit. Everybody has been trained to do something until you actually get into a scenario that when your adrenaline starts flowing. But 26 years kind of excludes the nervousness and the BS, right? I can't excuse 26 years. You understand, Kevin? If 1 year officer, if the 1 year officer did that, I'd be like, okay. I'm not saying that
Bill, you never worked with a cop who was this bad with 20 years on?
Absolutely.
You have.
Wait.
When you say this bad, what do you mean by that?
This tactically
Rich,
tactically
hold on.
bad.
I want to hear what Kevin. Let me ask the question.
Have you ever worked with a cop with 20 years on who was this tactically bad? You ever seen a cop this tactically bad at 20 years? I have.
Let me just answer it. I'm going to say that there are officers probably with that amount of time that I wouldn't want to work with because you're right, they weren't tactically good. And you
probably didn't see it. We just knew it because we would never work with them.
Well, the bottom line is it may have taken something so similar to this without the fatality for me to say I can't work with that officer. Let me tell you something. I went paintball, like, with a bunch of officers. We went paint with the paintball shooting, the whole thing. And the officer shot me twice. Friendly fire. We was on the same team. And I told him
shot you too. On the same team.
And I told him in his face, I would never work with you. Because if you're scared and you're shooting me in paintball, you're having friendly fire in paintball, what would you do in an actual fucking gunfight? And let me tell you something, my man, I love him. I've never worked with him, and if he's ever watching, I'll blast his ass. I'll tell him right now in his face, yo, I never work with his ass because the bottom line is,
Were you the only one he hit by mistake?
Yes.
Okay, so what's that saying?
Yeah, but you know what's so funny? The sad thing is, and he wasn't black. I mean, he wasn't white. He was Latin. I was like, he was Hispanic. I was like, yo, what are you doing? Like, yo, what the fuck? Yo,
hey, listen, don't disrespect. I know some Spanish people that consider themselves white.
Oh no, absolutely. Yo, this is real talk, baby. We say what it is.
I'm telling you the truth. You got some Hispanics that feel like they're white because of their skin complexion and will never associate themselves with as a person of color, because in some cases they can pass as white.
Well, listen, we haven't even gone into that other elephant in the room where we're going to show the young man, the two young men fighting in Jersey, and the light-skinned Hispanic man was not in handcuffs, and the black officer was. Let me just read this. We're gonna close this out real quick. Let me just read certain things. Roscoe said that the cop in Minnesota name is Noor. My man Arthur Chase, what's up, good brother? He said
Noor got 4.5 to 9. 4.5 years and 9 months.
What's that, Kev?
Noor got 4 years, 9 months.
Okay.
The other cop. 4 years, 9 months.
He got 4 years, 9 months.
He got a little less than double what she got.
Well, you said a little less.
Oh no, she got. Didn't she get? Oh, she got two. Did she get 3 or 2? She got 2.
She got 16. She got 2 years, so she's only doing 16 months.
And he's only doing. Let me get what he's actually going to do, because his sentence was just reduced. The appellate court reduced it. They knocked 7 years off of his sentence.
Everybody, this is Real Talk Chronicles. I'm your host, Bill Forster, with my co-host, Kevin Branzetti, and my co-host, Richard Williams. And listen, if you like what you see, share it, subscribe to it. If you watch it from YouTube, subscribe to it. If you watch it from Facebook, share it. It's under our names. Whomever you're watching it from, just share it and let people know what we're doing here. We got some good shows coming up. More trying to do next week. We're trying to have some undercovers in the building. Hopefully, my man, he's watching now. I want him to be a surprise. I hope your confirmation come back. Let me know if you coming next Wednesday. You're watching. So if you're coming next Wednesday, let me know. I'm waiting for another confirmation. I was a former undercover, but I want to hear it from two other perspectives, African American, and any other undercover that's out here watching. If you want to come in and chime in on the conversation, I always extend the olive branch to anybody. When you're at home, if you want to be a part of the podcast, just text me, inbox me, and I'll send you the link, and you can always join in the conversation. I appreciate you all for the support. We really do. Shout out to Deli Art of Survival Magazine, Melba Wilson's, Melba's restaurant, Soft Illusions Art Gallery, and also too Sheila Ennis, Harlem Wood Glamour, her clothing line. Arthur said, he said, then why was she an instructor if she was technically bad? Probably because, Art, because she probably knew somebody and she was hooked up. That's what we call a hookup position when you get that,
I have seen a precinct where when I got promoted to sergeant, the training spot was 6 to 2 at night with Tuesday, Wednesdays off.
Nobody wanted that shit.
Bingo. So who got it? The lowest man on the totem pole.
Right.
That was how it went. Nobody. I didn't want to, none of us wanted to work 6 at night to 2 in the morning, Tuesday, Wednesdays off.
Yeah, that was terrible.
When you say the lowest on the totem pole,
the least senior sergeant.
She's got 26 years of service.
I'm just giving you.
No, he's just giving you facts. He's giving you
scenario
facts.
And the person who was doing the training was awful. I saw 2 training sergeants while my first year who would take the rookies in at 12 o'clock because it was too dangerous at night.
Wow.
I blew my mind. Like, are you kidding me? Like, we're going.
Is there any training for training? Like, if you get tasked to train, right? Is there like a training class for you to train people?
No. I was a training sergeant. There was no lesson for me. And I'll even tell you my first day as training sergeant. A lieutenant got up first at the podium and introduced himself to the rookies and talked about how messed up the job was, how effed up everything was, from the pay to the way you all of these, went through a whole litany of how wrong the department, how wrong the job is, which is awful. I didn't let that lieutenant get off the podium before I insulted him. And I said, with all due respect to you, Lieutenant, you're completely wrong. And I told everybody, every rookie, I said, do not believe this guy. I said, this is a good job. I said, your salary, when you signed up and you took that oath, did they tell you your salary? And they're like, yep. Are you getting that salary? They said, yep. I said, so nobody lied to you. You cannot complain about your salary. You can't complain about past raises or no raises. You accepted. So zip it with that part. Like, that's done. And we went through a whole litany of things. But like I said, the lieutenant was day one telling him everything was bad. And that's just a horrible way to start. And we haven't, and I haven't seen this with any department, where they treat the training sergeant/officer as an incredibly high position.
Like my man Roscoe said, he said, just like they don't box in the academy, if you can't make the run, they give you water and oxygen and let you sit down. Disgraceful. Yep. Let me tell you something. When Kevin and I went through that academy, if you couldn't make that run, you get your ass out. And you it was almost embarrassing.
Almost.
You was almost like you was made the laughing stock of your company or your gym block. You were like,
and you needed to be punched in the face, and you needed to get hurt. Like, we don't teach these things. We don't teach hand-to-hand combat. We don't teach cops that. We give a couple of, here's an arm bar.
Yep.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I hand-to-hand stuff, Bill. How many hours of training do you think you recall getting in the academy?
About
a few hours.
If you being generous, I'd say about 30 seconds or 30 minutes. Because the only hand I remember is probably speed cuffing.
And speed cuffing. And how many times did you speed cuff someone on the street?
Never. never. The speed cuffing
does not. It works great.
100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%. 100%
Short sleeve shirts, compliant person.
Absolutely.
It does not work with a non-compliant person.
And let me just say this for all the listeners out there. Like, I worked with a female officer named Linda Lopez. She was probably one of the best cuffing officers I've ever worked with in my life. But most of the time she cuffed somebody, it was our field team wrestling and tussling with the person, and she saw that the person had the hand, and then she was like, I got one cuff on. And let me tell you something, shout out to her, because she could cuff the best of them. But she cuffed them after we had 3 or 4 people holding the person down. Because anybody out there, let me just tell you this. If a person doesn't want to get cuffed, they're not going to get cuffed. From the smallest of woman to the biggest of man. If you do not want to get cuffed, you will have to fight that person. So that thing about resisting, when you see somebody and somebody's trying to explain, see, that's why that's the BS. When somebody's trying to talk and they don't want to get cuffed, and they're saying, wait a minute, officer, let me explain. You're resisting, and then all of a sudden you're getting slammed and bammed against a car and shit. That's not really resisting. Who wants to get cuffed? I mean, I've heard some officers say, oh, people have complied to me. Listen. I don't know what unit you worked in, and I don't know what you did, but I've never had somebody, when I said, put your hand behind their back, they said, okay. And they let me come and cuff them. I've never seen it. It's never happened.
I've had a few. I've had lots of people who did that, and I was
Really?
very thankful. Some of them were, I can recall one where the guy was a complete monster, and it was like, he was huge. Either he was going to comply, or I was going to have to shoot him. Like, there was
that was me, Kevin.
Yeah.
I remember. I had a hoodie on.
Yo, everybody, this is Real Talk Chronicles. Hold on, let me read this shit. My man said, Roscoe said, no more tough skin. Next thing they're going to do is put pink ruffles on the end of their sleeves. Roscoe said, bottom line is the new breed is soft and emotional. Norm, he said, we didn't get hand-to-hand combat training, but they had independent training companies, which I had to pay out of pocket. Which you know what's so funny? I can say this. When I went into the academy, I was already a black belt. But that was for me. That was what I did on myself. But I always tell people all the time, you know, you didn't have to have hand-to-hand combat. You had to be, me personally, you had to be an inner city person, male, female, because I think inner city lifestyles taught you. I mean, even if you had siblings, yo, put my basketball back down. No. Then you get up and you try to take it, and next thing you tussling. You had to have some kind of interaction with somebody to touch somebody to know what it's like to be touched and not want to be touched, and how to touch. Because the bottom line is, listen, a lot of this job is wrestling and tussling. You know what I'm saying? That's what this job is. You don't have to ever. I mean, I tried to give my gift of knuckles to people that I had to apprehend, because maybe most of the time I was in the alley or I was in the projects by myself. So I wanted to give you something to remember me by. You understand what I'm trying to say? But you know what I'm saying? Because I wanted you to understand that this shit was for real. But the thing is, for the average person out on the street, I can say this, I've never punched somebody or hit somebody when there was multiple officers there. What we did, we wrestled him. We outmanned him.
Yep.
And that's the thing. Yeah. We outmanned him. We didn't have to punch. This 5-on-1 and I'm hitting you, it's absurd. But let me tell you something. The only time when a person got hit is when you swung. Now, like I said, I was a ghost in narcotics. I didn't have a uniform on, and the average time the person was trying to run or he was trying to fight. So God bless me with a good bob and weave game and a good block and punch game. Yes, he did. That, you know, and I'm sure he's blessed a lot of other officers with that. But the bottom line is, that's how I made my living. And that was my niche, to be a ghost. And that's why I was one of the best that did it. There's a lot of great ghosts out there in the world, in the city. I never say I was the best, but I know I'm in the top. Just how they had in basketball, the top 75, I'd be standing there with a jacket. You know what I'm saying? Everybody, this is Real Talk Chronicles. I'm your host, Bill Forster, with my co-host, Kevin Branzetti, and my co-host, Richard Williams. Hold on. Norm said, Kev thought he was reaching for his taser. Norm said, I already had a fight game, but I also had my New York talk. Absolutely. And I think that's what it was. You know, Kev, you could think about all the times that you may have had to wrestle, you and Eddie C or whomever you worked with. I mean, Kev, think about it. When you and I worked in SNU, I mean, damn, that Kevin had me climbing over roofs and all kind of shit. But even when we worked the chase car, we had to do all this punching people in the face and yo, either you was coming or we tussle you and you get down. That's it. That was it. We worked with some good officers, black. And I was the only black in that unit. That was only black in that unit. But all the white officers they had no point. They had no problems going after wrestling and tussling. Malloy, D-Bart. Stefania said, oh, snap, Bill Forster, you were the original Ghost from Power? Yes, I was. Don't ever get it twisted. Trust me. When that movie was made, you knew who I was. Absolutely.
Everybody, y'all do kind of look like Tommy and Ghost out.
So, I mean, listen, we one day we'll sit here and we'll talk about all that stuff. Maybe next week. Roscoe, you gonna be on next week, man? I want to do a show on Undercovers. I'm waiting for a few of my people to get back to me, but I want to do that show. Hopefully, it'll come to fruition. You know what I'm saying? I never was scared, even in the shootout. The officers of today are scared of their own shadow. Absolutely. And just for edification, today was Detective Rivera from the 3-2's birthday. So happy birthday, happy heavenly birthday. You know, rest in peace. So Roscoe will be in next week with us next Wednesday. We will be talking about undercovers in New York City Police Department. So, okay, the bottom line is, I personally feel that we're going to go to another topic. I personally feel that this officer is getting away with a lot on the fact that I think it's a slap in the face. Well, so okay, Kevin, let's and Kevin and Rich and Kevin, let's get past the time that she got. What do you think about what the judge said? And I'll start with you, Kevin.
Well, before I go to, I have a question. Well, I'll answer, but I have questions for you on this as well.
Sure. Absolutely.
Well, the judge, you know, there's no criminal history with her. There's no other sort of history with her talked about, or and it's an accident.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the judge was proper in this, and then going a low end of it, and I think that's quite normal out there.
Out there? What do you mean out there?
For judges, the first time somebody gets sentenced in life, they don't get the max.
Okay.
Who? For who? Who are you talking about, Kevin? Because there's a whole lot of brothers that got the max first time.
Over drug charges, non-violent crimes.
Over any charge. You got guys that got not even the max for things they did. They went super max for stuff that shouldn't even been that.
Well, Kevin, hold on, Kevin. What did I said we were in the green room in the green chat, and the Black Lives Matter woman got 6 years for something in the voting, and you were even like, "Yo, that shit was crazy to me."
Yeah, 100%.
So
I'm not. But that's a different. I'm not.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I'm not defending that, and that's still one of a million people being sentenced. I'm going to pull up one for you to. Well, let Richard give his thing, but I'm going to pull up one.
Kevin,
bad things happen to poor people everywhere.
That's not one of a million. That's millions of millions.
Everybody, this is Real Talk Chronicles. I'm your host, Bill Forster, with my co-hosts, Kevin and Chuck. And well, Chuck is with his mother, celebrating her birthday. Happy birthday, Miss Richards. And I got my man Richard Williams, other co-host in the building. My man Norm said you wrong about the sentence. You know what's so funny? Roscoe said that was below the low. That was below the low end. Yeah, Norm. A lot of people don't know what ghosting is. We'll explain a lot of that next week when Roscoe is in the building. Yo, my man Mike Aurora, I'm waiting for you, brother. Holla back. And any undercover that's former undercover that wants to come out, and we're not bad mouthing NYPD next week. I mean, you can if you want to. You say what you want to say, but if you want to just talk about what it was like to be an undercover in the New York City Police Department or any other agency, you're more than welcome to join. That's what we're going to try to talk about next week, unless something pertinent comes out, because we can talk about Putin. We can talk about Biden and what the hell's going on in the Ukraine and that and all these other prices and shit that's going up in this world. I don't have the answer to that. But so Kevin, what do you want to show us and tell us? Because you had a question you wanted to ask.
I do want to have a question about this first. So Bill, you in the end think she knew she had the gun?
Yes.
So if you think she knew she had the gun, why would she yell taser? She's yelling. She's threatening taser and yelling taser before she shoots him.
Kev, I'm going to answer that with a question. And I've never done this. This is probably maybe the first time I've ever done this shit. I'm going to answer this with a question. Why do officers hit people with sticks and batons and say, stop moving, stop resisting?
So I get that. You're going. So you're telling me what you're thinking is she's got a gun and she's intentionally shot him and is already thinking cover up.
You know what's so funny, Kevin? I'll play devil's advocate with you. I don't think she really wanted to shoot him, right? But I think she knew she pulled a gun out.
So she accidentally pulled the trigger, which happens.
Yes, I believe that. I will say
she was yelling taser.
Can I answer that?
Hold on, no, Rich. Let me stay with this.
She still yelled taser, which then says if you believe she really knew she had her gun and she's yelling taser, like you just went into that analogy of the cop who's saying stop resisting as he's wailing on the guy's head.
Yes,
which is for the audio of others to show my justification.
Absolutely,
that's what you're telling me she's doing, the audio for her justification for shooting him.
Yes,
then that's murder.
I didn't say it wasn't. I never said it wasn't. But because what I'm saying is, Kevin, so let me ask you a question, and I respect what you're saying, right? And I really appreciate that question. So let me ask you this question. If she's a fuck up, you've been showing all this whole video, and you sat here and explained how much of a fuck up she is. Why are you giving her the benefit of doubt that she's not a fuck up when she's shot?
That is the benefit of doubt that she was a fuck up when she shot it because she fucked up.
No.
It's that muscle memory. It's the muscle memory of the screaming taser, taser, taser.
But wait a minute. You just said everything she's done tactically wrong. You said this all video,
100%.
Right? All this whole podcast. You said everything she's done wrong. And you stated it. You said everything, and I co-signed it. I was like, yeah, you're right. She's wrong. She's wrong. So why is it that the fact that she is wrong in shooting, you don't agree with that though?
It's the yelling of taser. It's the reaction. That would be premeditated. The opposite of what you're describing is it's premeditated. That every time I go out with my gun, I scream taser. So just in case I shoot, I can come up with. I've already thought of long before I went out that day as a cop, I thought of my excuse. If I shoot somebody, here's what I'm going with. And I'm practicing it because during an incident, I'm yelling taser, taser, taser. That's pretty well trained then. That's well trained. That's the opposite of her. That's well trained in premeditated homicide.
So let me ask you a question, Kevin. Correct me if I'm wrong, and I'm looking for a yes or no answer.
Maybe.
Well, okay, fair enough. Do you agree with me that officers are trained to spew out, stop resisting, and still hit you at the same time?
I wasn't trained that way.
I didn't. No, I know. Kevin, I worked with you. You wouldn't be here if I couldn't vouch with you.
But I'm talking about academy, Bill. Am I going in my head to the academy? Was I trained that way in the academy?
No,
the
I'm talking about
trained on. We didn't do.
What I'm trying to say is that, have you heard police stop resisting, and you've seen the officer keep wailing on a person?
I have no doubt that's been trained to cops.
Thank you. That's all.
Whether
all I'm asking. I'm not trying to trap you in this. I'm just
no. If I'm gonna give my whether it's out and out like departmental manual training or senior cop training the rookie on how to do it. I think it's a lot more the latter of senior cop training rookie how to do it. So is it taught to young cops? 100% it's out there. It's been taught to young cops. Was it taught to me? No. Was it a tactic you or I? Or no. People we work with use? No.
Hey, Kev, let me ask you a question, and then we can go to something else if you want, and we could bring Rich in. What did they tell us when we were growing up and we were coming up in the police department? They said, yo, there's the manual and then there's the street, right?
The reality, yeah.
So the bottom line is, listen, that officer,
again, why the training officer is important.
Absolutely, because let me tell you something. We've heard it from so many different officers in our academy, and when we came into the police department, and whomever has trained us, they said, "Yo, the book says, the manual says this, but then certain, and you do what you got to do, right? Isn't that infamous word? You do what you got to do, right? So I'm saying all that to say that officer, and let's play this video one more last time, because the bottom line is, I want us to all see what the thing. You explained, you articulated so well how effed up training officer she was. So if she was so messed up, why would I say something? Yes.
The second cop is not a rookie.
No, he's not. He was the one that's in the car. He tried to get in the car.
He's got stripes on his arm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like Tracy
tried to get in the car. He got in the car.
Huh?
Like, go ahead, play it.
So the sergeant, I just realized he was the sergeant.
Yep, absolutely.
Failed this guy as well, and our driver.
Is she a sergeant?
No.
So why isn't he doing the training?
Some places it's a training cop, some places it's a training sergeant, some places it's a combo.
You got a warrant.
Okay. If she had grabbed his arm,
I'll tease you! I'll tease you! Taser! Oh, shit! I just shot him. Yes! I grabbed the wrong fucking gun! I shot him! Oh my god! Oh my god!
Can I say something?
Go ahead, Roscoe. I'll let you close this out. I'm done with that one.
Okay, now, to your point, Kevin, her screaming after the fact, oh, I shot him. Look where she's standing. Look who she's going to with that. The sergeant.
Mm-hmm.
She's trying to convince the sergeant it was a mistake. The sergeant, his training told him, okay, they fucked up. Let me get inside here. Because that door should have been closed. Maybe he didn't see the door wasn't closed. When he got in the car, his training told him he could stop this guy from going. but he got out of there after she fired the shot.
Yeah.
She goes over to the sergeant, pleading, "Oh my God, I shot him. I shot him." He knows you shot him. He was in the car with him when you fired the shot. So I think all of that wasn't for anything but him. Her commanding officer that was on the scene, that was for him.
Let me read some comments. Tracy said to you, she's referring to you, Kevin. She said, "You continuously saying all she did wrong and still saying it was a mistake." She says, Roscoe said, "Patrol guide is just a guide, not a law." He also said she was afraid and scared and probably was a house mouse, never had a scuffle in the street, and she had never been on training officer. We definitely agree. Tracy also says, "Yes, Bill, thank you for asking that question." Tracy said, "In life, we answer for our mistakes, and in life was taken because of her mistake. And seeing how she got off so easily, there will be more mistakes like this." Tracy also said, even after she shot him, she wasn't concerned about him. It was about her. And I think, Kevin, and I'm going to say this, we're going to close out with this, and I'll give you let you have two closing remarks on this before we go to something else. That is my point. As soon as she shot him, she knew it wasn't a taser, right? Then she was like, "Oh my God, I shot him." Then she laid down on the ground. "I went to jail." She didn't have any remorse. She didn't even mention this man's name during the whole trial. She called him the suspect, the person, or whatever. Let me tell you something.
You know that's her attorney.
Yeah, well, her attorney fucked up. Kevin, I'm not even going to debate you with that, because you're probably right. But her attorney fucked up, because the bottom line is, where's the humility? Where's the remorse? The bottom line is, you shot a person mistakenly. What you're saying, which you shot him, right? You took your taser. You mistakenly took your gun for your taser. During the whole testimony, and the testimony is out there for everybody. Nitty, I was waiting for you, man. Where you been? And during the testimony, you went from tears, and then when you saw her testimony, and Kev, you and I know a good testimony. She was straight Q&A, how we were taught to testify. You know what I'm saying? And with that being said, she did not waver. And then those are like selective tears. Now, when after Miss Wright tells her that, "Yo, you didn't even call my son by name, and you didn't even look at us and say sorry." Now, in her closing remarks, "Now, I'm sorry. I didn't think I was worthy to look at you." Yo, listen. Me personally, I don't buy that. I don't co-sign it. And I'm not even talking about, I know a lot of people will say, "Oh, yo, you was a cop." I'm black first. I tell people all the time, I can't go with this, and this is what kills me when I read these groups, these groups that I'm in, Kevin, and you're in, and the things that they say that is so disrespectful to people. And then I say to myself, how do they not get why people hate cops? You know what I'm saying? Cops should be loved. I always tell people the best time of my job is when 9/11, Kevin, when we was racing down there to look for those bodies in the World Trade. People were on the side of the road cheering us on. That was the best time. The worst time was the best time, because people revered us. They loved us. Right now, cops will say, listen, the stuff that I read and I hear, and what's so sad, they say it. People will respect a fraternity, because that's what the police department is. It's a fraternity. They respect a fraternity over a nationality, a culture. And that is the worst thing that can ever happen. Rich, I'll let you go, and then Kevin, I'll let you close it out.
Okay. How about if we look at this situation, take out the fact that she even said, taser, I'm going to tase you, I'm going to tase you. Let's say she didn't have a taser, or say she was going to use it. Let's say she said, stop or I'll shoot, stop or I'll shoot. And she shot him and he drove off. That would have been justified, right?
Now we're talking a different scenario.
Yeah,
and
I'm talking about the only difference is her, instead of her saying she was going to tase him, she never said that she was going to tase him. And then she winds up shooting him. That would have been okay, right?
So are we saying then she accidentally pulled the trigger? Because like I said earlier,
she pulled the trigger, right?
And that's a different scenario.
Take out, Kevin, all I'm saying is take out her saying taser, taser, taser. Forget she even said that, and then
it's not justified.
And where do we go with that then?
Then that's not a justified shooting.
Should she be doing time?
If she intentionally shot him, she goes to jail.
Okay. Well, she did, and she didn't.
Well, she did go to jail, and she is.
Okay. Well, she's doing that kind of time, that special kind of time. It's not really time.
Yeah. Look, it's a tough one, and I get the emotional side of things, and I get the disparities in life, and I hear all that.
Kevin, the public puts all of this trust in police officers to do this job the right way, and time after time after time, there's a disparity in these mistakes. And I'm gonna close there.
Bill ran away.
Yeah,
The sand lady came. See, whenever she comes, you know it's time to wrap it up.
See, no, we still got 20 minutes, so I'm here. Yeah, don't get it twisted. I'm here. Kev, let's go to I sent you. Check your emails. I think I want to show the video of the two young men fighting in the Jersey Mall.
We did show that last week.
We showed that.
Oh, did we?
Yeah. I'm waiting for that video of Kevin going to show us of a white person getting shot by the police by mistake.
I'm going to show you one right now.
All right. Oh shit! Let me see what happens.
And where am I?
He's got to be killed, Kevin.
Oh yeah, he's killed.
Okay. By mistake.
And
by mistake.
100. Well,
I'm
not going to tell you mistake or not. He intentionally killed him.
No, I'm talking about a mistake.
No. I'm just giving you an unarmed and clearly unarmed.
No. I want a mistake.
Kevin, is this the
I need a little more time.
You need time.
I got to watch a whole lot of videos, my friend. They don't give you that in the description.
You can't pull out. I mean, when it comes to black folks, all you got to do is bang, and there she is.
You can sit, but in the end,
yeah, Rich, what you said, this pong is right there, right? Like it just.
And we get a warning with this. Holy shit!
A disclaimer, right? Ain't that something?
Our shit says normal.
Shout out to my man Chet Wilson. Hey Chet, if you want to come on next week, I want to do a story on undercovers. I might want you to come on and tell me your experience. Chet said 2-year sentence was spent 2-year sentence will spend 8 months total, and I would be a good inside because law enforcement ties. Exactly.
Hey, Bill,
yes.
I got to protest this warning, man. We don't get this with ours.
Oh, you silly. Yo, Nitty, I was waiting on you. Nitty said, I like Kev Bill, but he would never understand what we go through. Roscoe said, look at the video I showed you. I will, Roscoe. Paula said,
so
how much time?
This one in the end, justified shooting.
All right, let's roll it. What's up, Janet? How are you?
I've showed this one before. You've seen this.
This is the one with the naked man.
Ethan.
Yeah, this is Kevin's go-to. This Kevin's go-to.
Stay in there, Ethan. Ethan, stay back. Ethan, stay back. Stay back.
Ethan, stay back! Ethan, stay back! Ethan! Shots fired! Shots fired!
Yeah, he was going to hit him with his schlong. He was chasing him out there. He came out there butt naked. So let me ask you a question, Kevin. What do you feel about that officer? What do you feel about that officer that was?
Their type 2 diabetes and pre-diabetes.
Oh yeah, we don't want to talk about that. Yeah. What do you?
No, I'm sorry. Ads were popping up. I had to stop the ads.
Yeah. What do you feel about that officer? So yeah, that definitely, that officer should be fired and all that, because that man was butt ass naked, and you know he got shot. But what do you feel about that officer shooting him, and he was unarmed? Kevin, what do you think should have happened to him?
That's not a justified shooting.
Okay.
Like you can't just shoot a guy
because he coming out there with his meat hanging in your face. Well, they go knock it off.
It's not even like disputable of like you could think he had a weapon. You could think like there's no. And
look, I think he was consistent with his shooting. I mean, in all fairness, the guy came out in blackface. He was covered in dirt in his face. Come on, man.
and he knew the guy. There was an earlier incident with him. He knew the guy. He's calling his name.
Yeah.
He knew it was Ethan. I give you the dirty face thing, but he didn't call him
blackface, man. He was supposed to get it.
Yo, how about this? It's more to that story. We didn't even know that guy was probably sleeping with his girlfriend or something, shit like that. So let me ask you, let's change the topic. Before we got 20 minutes left. Let's change the topic. Brian Flores got a job with the Pittsburgh Steelers as a defensive coach. The big elephant in the room is people of color not getting fair opportunities, getting jobs in the NFL. First and foremost, let me go to you, Richard, and ask you what's your opinion and take on that, and then I'll come to you, Kevin, and then I'll follow up with that. So first and foremost, the question is, do you agree or you disagree? You do agree, and what can be done to change that? If you agree that people of color are not getting fair treatment, if you don't agree, then you don't even have to answer that second question. Go ahead, Rich.
Well, I mean, you know me. I don't agree that it's fair. You know, the whole league, whether it's basketball or baseball, is predominantly people of color. The superstars, predominantly people of color. And my thing is, like, I was never really a big fan of the so-called breaking the color barrier when it came to the baseball league. You know, Jackie Robinson doing that, because I always felt like the Negro League had their own teams, they had their own fields, and they were starting to build, you know, a dynasty with their own league. And I felt like if it would have been like breaking the color barrier, you would take a team in the league.
Mm-hmm.
So you have ownership of the team. You have ownership. You have coaches that look like you. You have owners that look like you. You know, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I think what should happen is that, you know, maybe a whole nother league should be developed, you know, and go that route. You know, that's just my opinion, you know, because people are going to support their own. I mean, you look around in these stores in Harlem, all over the city, the customers are people of color, but the people that own the place aren't, you know. So
Gotcha.
You keep spending your money there and complaining about there's no representation of us there. Stop spending your money there, you know. All of these guys that are going to these Ivy League schools, stop going there. Go to HBCUs.
You know what's so funny? And that's the big thing, and that's the big elephant in the room, because the bottom line is, I don't know, Kev or Rich, if this happens in hockey and stuff like that, but you know, when
it
we
would be
talk
like
about
hockey being coached by mostly black coaches.
Say again?
It would be like the opposite would be hockey teams being coached by black men.
absolutely,
That would be the same as only we also own the team.
Yeah, true.
Yeah. I mean, Kev, what's your take on this?
So you know me. First off, I went and found some stats.
There you go. That's your name, stats.
Where does the problem stem from? You know, and I'm going to go to what does it look like in college? Right. And in college, the disparity is pretty bad. Right? It's 67% white, 13 Hispanic, black makes third place.
And what is this? These stats are pertaining to what?
College coaches, race of college coaches. And if you went by years, like there's really no.
Now this college football, right?
Yeah, college football, just college football.
Okay,
Yeah.
Exactly. No,
I mean, where
that's
do pro football coaches come from? Mostly
That's
college football.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
I wanted to see what, did the disparity start at the NFL or did the disparity start before that? And clearly to me, it started before that at college.
Yeah, because before we couldn't even play for certain colleges,
Right? Like, and it really, if you look in the last 10 years, there's no change. There's no, you can call it orange. So
we break the color barrier when it comes to players. Now we got to break the color barrier when it comes to coaching. Then we got to break the color barrier when it comes to owning. It's like we got to take baby steps.
So we're talking a lot about the NFL, but I think we should be talking a lot more about college.
Okay, we can deal with that. We can deal with that.
And I agree with you, Kevin, because it starts there. Actually, it starts in high school.
Yeah, I couldn't find high school. I'll look for that one.
Because I know if listen, everybody, if you want a stat found, Kevin is your statistician. He gonna get this shit for you, though. Don't play him. Richard's like, yeah. So we gonna let you get that. So I mean, my thing is question.
You're showing on footage though.
Yeah. So let me ask you a question. What do you think? Do you think Flores has some validity in what he was saying, or you didn't? Or what do you think, Kevin? Yeah.
It's hard to say he doesn't.
Right.
Like something ain't right here.
Right.
Can Flores have been can Flores be an ass and just interviewed bad? Maybe. But what's very hard to tell is, so two things. One, for him to go out publicly and say that, his career was over. And I'm shocked he even got a job afterwards.
Very true.
Usually you go against the owners. It's a death sentence. Right. So I give him, credit for that, to put his neck out there. Something ain't right. Like it's just, and maybe it's, I'm going to go back to, is it NFL problem, or is there not a pool then because the NFL doesn't have them from college, and the problem is college?
So let me ask you. I'm gonna make a statement, and I guess I'm really gonna ask both of you a question. Now, I don't care what color you are. If you don't deserve a job, you don't deserve a job. But the bottom line is, there's no way in hell we can sit here and say people of color are not smart enough to be coaches because they played the game. You know what I'm saying? Because the bottom line is, Rich, you're an athlete. Kev, you played sports, and I played sports. We have seen the most non-athletic individuals coach teams to championships, right? So the bottom line is, let's cut the bullshit when it comes to talk about knowledge of the game, right? That's the one thing. Let's cut that BS. So there's no ethnicity that's not knowledgeable of the game. If you know the sport and you can fake, to take you to elite status, because listen, no one here is going to say right now, and I'm just using this in the basketball terminology, that Steve Nash is a good coach. He hasn't proven anything. He has great players. No one right here is saying Steve Kerr is a great coach, because the bottom line is he has great players. But we all going to say Bill Belichick is a good coach because we've seen him take no names and make them household names. You understand what I'm trying to say? So the bottom line is, let's cut the BS when it comes to that aspect. But what I'm trying to say is that for somebody to say that people of color, that for a league that is predominantly African American, and you're telling me as they transition into the pastures of coaching the ranks, that they are not knowledgeable enough to coach. But then we have to understand it's the good old boys that we like, no. Like, let me tell you something. My favorite team, the Giants, hurt me to my heart where I'm really ready to not watch and watch them, because the bottom line is I don't think the Giants want any black coaches, even though they did have a Jerry Reese at one point, but they they don't believe in how does Louis Riddick go from being a finalist in the GM spot, and now when they're looking for a new GM because Redelman, whatever his name is resigned. He's not even on the list. He's not even on the callback. You bring a dude out of nowhere. No disrespect to his sports acronym, but he comes out of nowhere. You telling me no black person? What about Pepper Johnson? You know, anybody that played on the Giants before? Nobody's thought about being a head coach. But you know what? You'll go reaching Flores, and you get all these little young white guys, and now they're head coaches with no experience. But the bottom line is, you have Brian Flores that had 2 winning seasons in Miami, and he got fired
with a bad team.
With a bad team, exactly.
And no quarterback, right?
Exactly. So you know what's so funny? There is a problem, and the thing is, I mean, I don't know what you guys say. Let me just read some of the comments out here. Everybody, this is Real Talk Chronicles with my co-hosts Kevin Branzetti and Richard Williams. Stefani says, I think we need to stop trying to acclimate into these leagues and form our own. Black people can't even stay together on the line to buy some tickets. I get you though. We are more than capable. Collectively, we have the funds as people, and we have the know-how. So what's really stopping us? Great question. I see you, June Broxton. Got you. You got your 2G going on. You said you have internet problems. Eunice Collins, great show as usual. We need to stop trying to get a seat at the table, make our own table. I totally agree with you. Paula said, Kev, I like the name for you, Stats. That's his name, Paula. That's his nickname. Janet, what's up? She said, all the New York City teams seem to not hire black coaches. I'm so tired of that too. Exactly. I mean, you know, I'm tired of tips. What happened to Mark Jackson? Nate said, it's an American culture problem. They don't think that black people are smart enough to think. They don't think black people are smart enough to be in those positions. Look how long it took them to recognize a black quarterback. They thought we weren't smart enough to lead the team. If they believe that we were not smart enough to lead on the entry level, there's no way to hell that we could lead a team. Absolutely. Yeah, I just put it on, but I'm trying to look down and up, sweetie. I'm sorry. I'll read more. My wife just blew me up just on the podcast in front of everybody.
I couldn't see you.
Well, but you just blew me up, right? Why? No, they did hear you. Kevin's laughing and shit at me. Exactly. She said,
I'm rewinding that later. I'm going to play it again.
Yeah, see, that's
my own little video out of that one.
Sometimes you got to tap on the shoulder first. You know what I'm saying? She says, I'm about to stop watching these teams too. That's where we're born fans. Exactly. Roscoe said, we are people that do not support each other or believe in each other. You're right. You know, I mean, that's a whole cultural thing, Kev. You couldn't even answer that. That's more Rich and I on that aspect. But I just think that, you know, I would hope in lieu of Brian Flores that the players got it wrong with Kaepernick, because Kaepernick end up getting that bag. So the players definitely got it wrong with that. But if they stood behind him right now and said, you know what's so funny? He's right. I'm not playing. Nobody's playing. Because you can't tell me that they're not white players out there that think that Richard Williams or Bill Foster is good enough to coach them. You know what I'm saying? Or whomever. There's so many different linemen and stuff like that. And people need to say, yo, listen, let's stop with the injustice. And until we do that, the problem will never die. What's your take on that, Rich? What's your take on that, Kevin?
Well, well, you heard me say earlier, you know, I'm one that believes in instead of trying to fight over, you know, getting this kind of respect in the league that clearly doesn't respect you, just form your own league. We got the players, you know, we got all of that in place. Why not? Like with the NBA, I'm like, bring back the ABA. We can go to the ABA and start the ABA all over again, own some teams, get some arenas, and then we could probably get that respect. And I'm not really one that really goes for that. We don't support each other stuff. I think we get more media blast on that statement than anything else, because I know a lot of brothers and sisters that support one another, you know. To the thing about the coaches, right? As a former player, I've always observed the fact that some of the best coaches were some of the worst players or never played at all.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yes. Facts.
And referees. I've watched guys that used to play the game and they were like some of the best players and tried to become referees and weren't that good.
Absolutely.
Because of one fact. You never lose that player in you. So when you start trying to coach, you're trying to coach people to the level that you were. And a lot of times these are gifts and work ethic that go together that made you that superstar, right? And there's certain things you can teach and there's certain things you just can't. And you're expecting people to play at the level that you played at, and it's not going to happen, right? And as a referee, as a former player, you get caught up watching the game as opposed to making the call. So something to happen, and instead of blowing the whistle, you'd be like, oh, shit. You know? Yeah. So a lot of times you miss calls because you're thinking as a player, not as a referee. And it takes a lot of time for you to develop into that. But again, my thing is, instead of us arguing about why he didn't get a job there, we should be arguing about why we don't own a team. You know? Why don't we own a team? Why don't we own part in a league or our whole league? Why don't we talk ownership? Why are we still talking about whether Jordan is better than LeBron and Magic? And the conversation is they all are great. Our conversation should be, with all this greatness, why are we talking about trying to separate and favor this one over that one? They're all great. So what about talk about taking that greatness and start your own league? All the notoriety and the fame that these guys have, the conversation shouldn't be whether Jordan is better than LeBron. The conversation should be LeBron and Jordan going to start their own league.
Well, in basketball, right, Jordan bought into a team.
Partial owner.
LeBron's going to as well. I have like zero doubt about that. And
absolutely.
Magic own part, or is he just own part of the Dodgers?
I think it was just the Dodgers.
Those guys are starting to. So you're going to see that turning. You don't see that in the NFL. You don't see that.
Don't think for a minute there's not resistance.
Well, of course there's resistance.
Don't think for a minute. But I want to say one thing because we're almost done, right? And this is something that I saw on a Facebook post. And it was a guy talking about Jeff Bezos. Bezos is the richest man in the world, and his wealth is $178.5 billion. Right? That's what his net worth is. And then he said in the same post, that there are 7.9 billion people on the planet. He said if Jeff Bezos was to give everybody on the planet $1 billion, he would still be the richest man on the planet. So what we're talking about here is one individual being able to end poverty, homelessness with the stroke of a pen.
Facts. That is facts.
One man. But the problem is there's money in chaos across the board.
It is.
People are making money off of chaos.
It's not that much. I'm going to have to argue with you on the math on that.
What's not that much?
If he has 100 and something,
$78 billion.
178 billion,
And there are
178 billion,
and there are arguably 8 billion people on the planet.
Mm-hmm.
Where's the math wrong?
It's $22 each.
What's $22 each?
That's how much money he has. $22. If there's 8 billion people, it's 8 billion. It's 178 million divided by 8 billion. It's billion divided by billion. The billions leave. It's 178 divided by 8. 22. He doesn't have that much.
Watch this, everybody. This is a real talk moment. I don't know what the fuck he talking about.
178 billion
Yeah.
divided by 8 billion people. The billions wipe themselves out. It's 178 divided by 8.
What math school did you go to? Help me.
Get your calculators out. I'm willing to put dinner for both of you on this one.
Okay, so you're saying mathematically 178 billion
divided by 8 billion people.
You're dividing it. All you got to do is take 8 billion from the 178 and give it.
And then everybody gets $1. If I take 8 billion from 178, everybody's $1.
I'm lost with that one.
Listen, everybody, Kevin took his stat game to another level. He done effed us all up to
green room afterwards. I'll show you the numbers afterwards.
Listen, you got people out here laughing, Kevin. They don't know. We don't know what this way. Yo, your stat game is you done fucked everybody tonight. You know
now I understand why he feels the way he feels about some of this.
DC, Maryland, everybody. Nobody, North Carolina. We don't know what the fuck you just did. I know I ain't invested in your shit though. You like listen. You done like Bitcoin. You done did some whole. Kevin. You done did some shit right now. Everybody's like this. I don't think you know what the
fuck. Share the screen
right now. Hold on.
That's the number.
Let me play this shit. You put this shit up here.
78 billion divided by 7.8.
You fucking
$22.80.
Why are you dividing it? Why are you dividing it?
Because how else do you spread that out? That's how you divide
Easy.
it.
Because if you have
if I had 20 apples and gave it to 5 people,
Kevin, let's lower the numbers, right? Suppose there's.
Let's start off with $5 and $10.
Suppose I have 178. Suppose I have $178, right?
Yeah.
Right.
And you're gonna give it to 8 people.
And I got 8 people in the room, and I give each one of them $1. Right? How much do I have left?
170.
Okay. So if I have 178 billion, right, and there's 8 billion people,
you still going to give them $1 each for that 8 billion.
No.
If I gave 8 billion people $1 each, that's $8 billion.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. All right. Yeah. Listen. You know this.
Who knew this would turn to this?
Yo, you know this show ain't sponsored by Tito's, but I'll be happy.
Now he can buy everybody a bottle of Tito's.
I don't know what the stats is going on. I don't know what the fuck everybody's thinking tonight. Hey, yo, this is Real Quick Chronicles. I'm your host, Bill Forrester. That's Kevin Branzetti. That's Richard Williams. Listen, we know how to end out on a laugh and shit. I don't even know if I want to read any more comments because this shit is fucking funny, yo.
Hey.
Yo, Janet said, she said 22.25 billion. Yo, I don't even fucking know what to do with this guy right here. Yo, he outstat his stuff. Yo, Kev, you outdid yourself with the stats, brother. Listen, let's see, everybody. We'll have people go back. Roscoe said, "This is for Richard. All I'm saying is that it's too many success stories and entertainment to not have recording companies, radios. Absolutely, we need that." Stefani said, "Did you guys see the video I sent of the teen that said the cop attempted to bribe him with McDonald's so they could confess to a crime he didn't commit?" We'll pick that up next week. I didn't. You might have sent it. Let me say.
I watched it, Stefan, Mike, and we'll check it next week. But the one thing I couldn't find was why they arrested him originally. What was the evidence they had? The McDonald's part to me is a nothing part of the story.
Right.
They arrested the wrong kid. Now did somebody else pick him out? Was there, a witness? That's what I need to know. How did they get him? And I didn't see that in any of the articles.
Yo, Rich, I'm going to definitely add you to the group of conversation on the sidebar, so you can be a part of these intellectual information gatherers and sharers. Roscoe said, "This is this."
Just calling his 6th grade math teacher right now to get an answer.
Hey, yo, listen, he might be calling Mrs. Crabtree. I don't know.
I don't know if Miss Crabtree's around still, Richard, but reach out.
Well, we can call Miss Sanchez. We can call some fucking body because I couldn't figure that shit out. You said, bro. Listen, everybody, Chronicles. I'm your host. I don't know who the fuck I am right now after that shit. Yo, Kevin, you statisticianed yourself tonight, bro. That one right there. Yo, Kev, give us some positive affirmation. Rich, give us some positive affirmation. And we getting out of here. Go ahead, Kev.
All right, we short today. Good night, everybody. Be safe. Be smart. Streets are a little bit strange nowadays.
Yeah, absolutely.
Keep your head out there. Protect your neighbors.
Keep it on a swivel.
Yeah.
Word.
Have a good night.
Rich, give us some positive affirmation, brother, before we can get out of here. You muted. You calling that math teacher? Where you muted? Yeah, there you go.
Oh, yeah. My math teacher just said, "Don't trust Rich with your money."
Oh, I love you guys. You're hilarious. There's no better way to end a night with laughter, bro. There's no better way to end a night with laughter, man. You know what I'm saying? Woo. Yeah.
Hey, listen, man. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it back and forth. We agree to disagree, but we're talking.
Absolutely. That's the key.
Let's just stop killing each other. All right. I think we just need to put more into respecting people as human beings and making these judgments on life and death better.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody that somebody is trusted by someone else to do right thing by the people. Let's just be mindful of that across the board, And a lot of times we walk into these gray areas, and a lot of truth goes to some of the stuff Kevin says that it's hard to say what you'll do unless you're in that situation. But at the end of the day, lives are being lost. And statistically wise, I'm going to have to check my stats on that too. But I do believe Black folks are getting killed more than white folks by mistake. And
you and Kevin really gonna talk about that because
it's
oh my God,
wrong across the board, no matter who gets killed by mistake, you know. But even if it happens by mistake, if you're tasked to be that person that's trained to make sure that everybody is safe, and then you make that devastating mistake, and then it's all about covering up the mistake, and you walking out. I mean, I'm not a cop, never have been, you know, and I know that job that you guys, for those that aren't, you know, that are no longer police officers, I mean, kudos to you, man, that you made it through your career unscathed and blemished and managed to get to the level that you are today, where we can sit here and talk about this stuff and analyze, you know, the rights and the wrongs of this stuff. You know, I'm not qualified to do what you guys do. You know, I don't have that kind of training, you know, so all I could do is sit here on this chair and just, you know, speculate and quarterback from my personal opinion and feelings about what I see and what's going on, and from the perspective of a black person, black man, you know, and that's real, you know, just like I can't tell Kevin or you, Bill, about what it's like to be a police officer, but what Bill and I do share is what it's like to be a black man living in this country.
Absolutely.
And that's far reaching for you to understand that perspective from us, Bill, just like it's far reaching for me to understand the perspective of a police officer, right? Because I've never been that. I never walked those shoes, you know. But I have nothing but the utmost respect for anybody that puts that uniform on and goes out there and is entrusted to save lives and help people. And a lot of the work that you guys are doing is not all about gunplay. It's not all about that, you know. It's about walking in the community and relating to the people and letting the people know that, hey, I'm here for you. Stay calm. I'm here to help. You know.
Yeah.
And
you know,
help doesn't always require you to pull that gun.
You know, I think I would love, and I think Kevin can co-sign this from my aspect. I would love to be on the show, do this podcast, and talk about all the good that we see cops doing. You know, because we've seen cops deliver babies or save lives and things of that magnitude. Because I'll say this in summation. I never forget. I had a guy one time talking about cops. He was just dogging them out right in front of my face. Right, he was talking to me, but he was just berating them and shit. So I said, let me ask you a question. How do you feel when if a white person did that about black people? He was like, oh, he don't know all black people, so why would he say that? So I said, well, why would you say that about all cops? You know what I'm saying? Just because they wear blue. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I said, you talking about me too when you say all cops, because I did it. I'm a police officer. He was like, yeah, but you're different. I said, and that's my point. You got to judge everybody by whom they are. Sometimes we all clump everybody into a category. Let's not do that. Let's make the world a better place and judge each other for the individuality. Let me tell you something. You know, we're not talking political parties. We're just talking about how you interact with me and how I interact with you. We know that there's racism, and we know that there's disparity against all ethnicities and sexual preferences and boundaries and stuff like that. Just worry about yourself and be a better person. If you get that down pat, then all that other shit will fall in line. You know what I'm saying? Just worry about yourself and how you treat people. With that being said, this is Real Talk Chronicles. I'm your host, Bill Forster. That's Kevin Branzetti. That's Richard Williams. Listen, if you like what you've heard, share it. Let people know. This is the only show. This is the only podcast that keeps it real from start to finish. We laugh, we joke, we disagree, but it ain't personal. And that's why we can do what we do. We invite anybody, white, black, Hispanic. You are welcome to come on and join the conversation. Don't be shy. Listen, come on, come get some of the smoke. Right, Rich? Right? Don't get it. Let me tell you something. Go
Let's
ahead,
thank
Kev.
our new sponsor, Richard Williams Accounting Firm.
Oh shit!
Hey, Kevin, I can take that. all the shit I've been giving you. When you right, you right.
Oh shit! Good night,
Hey, Kevin.
everybody.
Just goes to show you, if you right, you right. You got to give us some of that too, Kev.